okay, or someone that they kind of know. It is more rare to be random. Like a complete stranger is not the norm. It is someone that you know or you kind of know, and someone that they know, okay? So everybody kind of trusts this person because they're familiar, right? So that's when we need to start feeling that icky, right? We need to get them in touch with that icky feeling that they can sometimes get. So here's the part that I'm going to do to the children. So you guys are the kids now, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about how to keep yourself safe. I need to explain a few things to you before we get started. I want to know what you know. Do you know that there are grown-ups out there that hurt children by touching them in their private parts? Did you know that? Right? Yeah, there are. There are grown-ups that do that. I wonder if you know what your private parts are. So what are your private parts? Is your private part your booty? Yeah, okay, good. That's a private part for everybody, right? Yes. Is your private part the front where you go potty to? Yes, that is your private part. What are some of the names you guys have for your private parts? What do you call it? We call it ding ding sometimes. We call it penis. Sometimes we call it bird. We got all kinds of names, right? You guys hear all kinds of names for your private parts. So what about girls? Where's their private parts, right? What about your sister? What are her private parts? Her private parts are also in the front where she goes potty too. There are also names for that. What do we call that in our house? You call it like your cookie or your hoo-ha, or, you know, what do you call it? Some people call it a vagina, right? My kids used to call it a pajama for a long time, and I was really glad about that because there was no reason for them to say the other word ever. So what else do girls have that boys don't have? What other things do they have? What is that on their chest that they have? It's their boobs or their breasts, right? And those are private parts on girls too. So think about it as where your bathing suit covers a boy and where the bathing suit covers on a girl. That's their private parts, okay? Now, who can touch you in your private parts? Who's allowed to do that? Well, I guess it depends on how old, right? So, is everybody potty trained? Is everybody able to go to the bathroom all by themselves? So, if you can go potty all by yourself, then it should be you can touch you in your private part, right? You have to, because you have to clean yourself. You have to clean yourself, and you have to shower, and you have to wipe, and you have to be hygienic and stuff, right? So for sure, you can always touch your private parts. Who else can touch you? If you're potty trained, who else can touch you? So can mom touch you? Can dad touch you? When necessary, right? They shouldn't be touching you all the time, but sometimes we need help with stuff. Sometimes the doctor might need to touch you if you have if you're sick there for some reason. And sometimes that does happen, right? So when the doctor does have to touch you there, usually your mom or dad are going to be with you too, right? So you're not going to be alone with someone else. Who else can touch you in your private parts? Yeah, I don't know if your friends are a good idea. Friends really don't need to be touching you in your private parts. Does a babysitter need to touch in your private parts, potty trained? Probably not. No, grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles. So there's not that many people on the list, right? The main person is you. You are the main person that should be touching yourself in your private parts, right? Okay. So let's talk about how to keep yourself safe. I believe that knowledge is power. Have you ever heard that before? That knowledge is power. So what that means is that the more information we have about stuff, the stronger we are. We are more powerful and better able to take care of ourselves and our bodies when we have all the information we need. right? So this is really important. I'm giving you all this knowledge today so that you guys can be bigger and stronger and better able to keep yourself safe. So, there's a name for the person that touches kids and their private parts. There's two names. They either call them a pedophile or a child molester, right? This is what they're called, okay? And they're big fancy words, but you kind of probably need to know these words or be familiar with what they are, right? Because these are people that seek out kids to hurt them and their private parts. So it's a pedophile and a child molester, and I will use that as we keep talking about this, okay? People who want to hurt children look for certain types of kids. Do you have any ideas what kind of kids they go looking for? Usually, it's kids that are quiet, really shy kids. They kind of look for those guys. The kids that are real easygoing and friendly and run up to anybody and talk to them and grab on their legs and sit on their laps and do all that, they look for those too. They go for those. Kids that are by themselves, kids that just hang out alone a lot, these are kids that they tend to look for. And kids that need attention, right? They might be needing something that this person might be thinking, ooh, I can give them that. So then the pedophile or the child molester starts to give you the things that you need or you want. So they kind of start wanting to be your friend, right? So they start talking to you, hey, what are you doing, right? They pay attention to you. They might take you places, right? Because remember, your mom and dad know them. There's somebody that you know, that you kind of know. Your family usually knows who this person is, but they don't know this part about them. They don't know that they want to do things to hurt children. They don't know that because they don't tell anyone that. But they start wanting to do things with you, like take you to the movies, take you to ball games, take you to concerts, buy you stuff, take you to go get ice cream, right? They want to do things that are going to make you happy and make you really like them. Parents, remember, your parents are not really all that worried about it. You've got permission to go with them, right? Your parents, because your parents know them and your parents kind of trust this person too. So there's no reason for you really not to trust them. And at this point, it all sounds great, right? Who doesn't want to be taken places, right? Who doesn't want to get their stuff? This sounds like a good time to me. So far it is, it's fantastic, right? You got this friend who's hanging out with you, and yeah, he's grown up or he's older, but he's still there and he does cool stuff, right? And mom and dad say it's fine. So things start to kind of go a little bit bad though, right? They start, after they get you to trust them and like them, they want you to be their friend, and they talk about it like y'all are friends and you're buddies and you're hanging out together. I want you to start thinking about, why is a grown-up being friends with a kid? You should just kind of have that in your head. And maybe even if you asked your mom, why is a grown-up being friends with a kid? Are grown-ups really ever friends with kids? Because grown-ups are never friends with kids. Like when you think about your best friend, is your best friend a grown-up or is your best friend a kid? Right? Because kids hang out with kids. And grown-ups hang out with grown-ups. So if there's a grown-up that wants to hang out with a kid and it's not your mom or dad or your grandma or grandpa or someone like that, then you kind of need to question it, going, why does Mr. So-and-so want to hang out with me? Because I'm just a kid, right? And I want to do other kid stuff with other kids. So that's the first thing you kind of need to look for and think about, is why is that even happening? Then they start to do things that start to be a little weird, right? Like they start to touch you more. Like there's a lot more hugging going on, right? And you like hugs, because who doesn't like a hug, right? Moms and dads give us hugs all the time. So they start hugging and that's all fine, but then it's like too much. And then there's some patting, right? There's lots of tickling that might happen. Then they want us to sit on their lap a lot. And they want to touch you more than you like to be touched. Usually this is when you start getting that first sign of that real icky feeling, right? Something in your belly is going, I don't know about this. Why do I have to hug him that much? That's a little excessive on the hugging, right? And could you stop tickling? Because yeah, it's kind of fun, but not anymore, right? So maybe that's when you get that red flag and something in your stomach is saying something's not right here. And you start to feel a little icky. Okay, so remember that this is what I want you to listen for. You need to listen. If your stomach starts telling you something and you get that weird feeling, you need to go, I'm supposed to pay attention to that. Okay.